Good day, everybody. Welcome back to the flight deck. We're back in Vancouver with Aurora, and we're going to reattempt our flight up to Juneau. Hopefully we won't have any problems today. Not expecting any. Everything should be working. I'm kind of back into the swing of things. And not expecting to make the same mistake I made last time. So let's hop on board. We'll get away from the noisiness out here on the ramp. And we can start getting the aircraft up and ready to go. Alright. So we are back on board the aircraft. Just going to start my flight tracker. And we can do our pre-flight. So we'll come down here. We will set the parking brake. Parking brakes are set. FS actions, we'll just make sure our chocks are set and our ground power is connected. So up to the overhead. Battery is now on and standby power is to auto. Emergency exit lights are now armed as well. Ground power we can turn on. And the aircraft is now powered. So we're going to put our position lights to steady. Hey Kevin, how's your load-in going? Position lights to steady, and we can start the IRS's aligning. So to the upper overhead panel, we'll set 1 and 2 over to nav. That's left and right actually. So they are up and going, and everything else is in. We can clear the cautions, and we might as well get our passengers coming on board today.
Boarding requested.
Hopefully we don't lose the jetway. Alright, with that done, we can go back up and carry on. So passenger signs are coming on. Hydraulic, our electric hydraulic pumps, number 1 and number 2
Do you want a board crew?
are on. Yaw dampers are on.
Passengers boarding started.
Window heats left and right are on. Left aft fuel pump can come on. Low pressure is off. And we might as well get the APU up and running. So we'll go to on. We'll wait for the oil pressure light. Oh, okay. So does that mean you got to reinstall the PMDG aircraft? I can't remember how you resolved that last time. Alright, so APU is starting. We'll wait for that to come up online. Clear the messages. There's the bags. Guys are outside. APU is firing up. So we currently have no ATC here in Vancouver. We'll see if that changes by the time we're ready to go. Just wait for the APU to stabilize. There we go. APU generators are on. So the gens are online. APU bleeds will come on. We will turn the left and right packs on as well and make sure the isolation valve is open. So we got air coming into the back of the aircraft, which is all good. And we can now come down here and start doing our initializations. Alright, so we're going to come over here just to make sure that he is on that page, which is not where we want him. We want him to be on page 1. And we can go FMC. Aircraft is correct. Database is good to the 15th of June. Position initialization will chop into the IRS's. It is the 26th, so we're going to go with the left side. We'll bring it back, set that up, and the aircraft now knows where it is. Before we go any further, we're just going to pop up here. I'm going to turn the... Oh, that got turned on. Panel lights up nice and bright, and same as down here. So we get the definition on the buttons. Now hop back over here. We're going to bring in our route. And the route's going to be the same as it was last week when we tried this. And basically we are going to be flying the VORs up and out of here, which should make it very interesting and easy flight. We're going on the nav arrival. Lemon Wolf, hello. Welcome. So we're going to request our flight plan, YVR to PAJN, that's Juneau, 734 miles is correct. So we'll select that one. We're waiting for this to tell us we can load it in.
Good evening, ma'am. How are you? I'm doing good.
And we should be good. Here we go. We will load.
Hello. Good evening, ma'am. How are you? I'm doing good.
Okay, you just said that. Wait for the activate and execute. Activate, execute. So our flight plan is now in. Just a couple direct to waypoints, which is fine. But what we're going to do now is go in and do our departure and arrival. So departure is fairly simple. We're going off on runway 26 left on the YVR2 departure. If we look at our legs, we're basically heading straight out, and then we will vector ourselves to YZT, which would normally be ATC doing it, but they are not here. So we're going to go to our arrival. We are doing the RNAV Victor, which is this one here, into 08. Winds are out of the southeast, so this is the one we're going to want. And we are going in via SSR. We'll execute that, and if we come back to our legs again, you see we're going to come into SSR, Nimo, Ogemi, Mini, Moe, and into the runway, which is, if you remember, what we had when we flew in there from Anchorage on the World Tour. But we are going to come in here and hard code some altitudes. So we want 3400 and 3400, 2700 and 728. That is all fine. So that is our routing correct, and there is our missed approach and hold. All right. So everything else is moving along. We might as well do our performance stuff. So let's head quickly into the actions menu. We're going to go to our fuel and start entering in our information for today's flight. So looking at our flight plan. Fuel for today's flight is 7,813 tons, so what's the entire thing? 7813. We'll enter that in. There is our total fuel. We'll come back to the payload. Today's flight, all economy class. We are taking 143 passengers.
I'm right next to her. Thank you.
So we'll enter that in. Our takeoff weight. No, that's the USSR, Kevin. The USSR. Alright, so we want an estimated takeoff weight of 60,661. So we're a little bit over, but that is fine. We are going to drop down to 1,000 on the forward cargo, 1,000 on the aft cargo, and then we'll adjust from there. And there's 60.6. We want 60.6. That is perfect. Go back into the FMC. And we can now do our performance. So our gross weight, 60.6. Our planned fuel is 7.8. Our reserve, this is off the flight plan, is 0.9. Cost index for the 737 is 25. Our cruise flight level for today is 340. Estimated average winds for the flight is 202 at 37. And this is calculated at each of the waypoints. The winds predicted at the waypoints, and then down from there. Transition altitude of 18,000 feet is perfectly fine. We'll execute that. Page 2 is fine. Those numbers are all good. We'll come to our N1 limits, and now I have to go bring up my calculator. Link in the description below. Same one I always use. Works very well. Alright, we're doing the takeoff calculator. So I need my takeoff weight. And we can set this up. So we are at CYVR. We are using runway 26 left. Takeoff weight for the aircraft is set. Weather is in. Oop. Get here to the calculations.
Good evening, ma'am. How are you? I'm doing good.
Alright, so we have a cell temperature of 45 degrees. We are going to be doing a 22K N1 D-rated takeoff. That is all good. And our data here, we'll come back. We'll enter in the weather, which is 280 at 6, or the winds. Back to the page. It is going to be a flaps 1 departure. Our center of gravity is 6.49. And our V speeds of 132, 133, and 138. So 132, 133, 138 are now entered, and feet remaining is 1100. And that is our takeoff information set. Still loading. Looks like baggage is done and fueling is done, so it's just passengers now. Still not seeing Kevin. Yes, I have the Honeycomb Bravo. When I fly the 737, I'm using the Boeing levers. When I fly the A320, I'm using the Airbus levers. And when I fly the smaller twin-engine prop planes, I'm using the ones that come with it for the throttle profit mixture. And yeah, I do switch back and forth between Airbus and Boeing. I switch the levers around. Alright, so with all that on board, what we're going to do is we're going to pop up top and we will do our test. So Mach speed, there's number 1 and there's number 2. We'll do the stick shakers for the captain's side, that's good, and the co-pilot side, we are good there. Everything is looking good up top at the moment. Coming down to the bottom, we're going to do our in-op test. So there's our cautions and our recall lights are on. EPLB to EGCC. Well, EGCC is Manchester. EP, that's Poland. LB. I'm not sure where in is that Poland or Portugal? Would that be Lisbon? Maybe. It's not a bad route. Hi, Brian. And we'll do our fire test. There's our warning, cautions, recall. All lights are up, and our notices and our system test. Yeah, Portugal up to Manchester is a good flight.
Wide slope.
It's like 2 hours, 2 and a bit.
Pull up. Wind shear. Wind shear. Wind shear. Terrain. Terrain.
So on
Pull
VATSIM,
up.
we've currently got a
Airspeed.
777 heading to Sydney, Australia, Air Canada. We have a WestJet 737 heading to Winnipeg. Inbound, what do we got? Something coming in from Hawaii. E55P, not sure what that is. We got a Air Canada flying up from San Francisco, 320. We have a BRA, not sure what that is, 300 Neo, or 330 Neo coming in from Dallas, Fort Worth. Air Canada Flight 8, another 330 Neo coming in from Hong Kong. And Air Canada 34, a 777 coming in from Sydney, Australia. Oh, it was Poland. Okay. Yeah, that'd be a good flight over Europe. Nothing wrong with that. Well, it sounds like everybody is on board. Kevin, got an update before I carry on from here? Let's just make sure we got everything else all set up. Alright, so the weather currently here in Vancouver. I'll put the weather into the chat so everyone can see it. 280 at 6, 20 miles of visibility, few cloud at 5,000 feet. It's currently 20 degrees. A beautiful day down here in Vancouver. And 29991 is the barrel, so we'll change that. Make sure we got it on the standby and over on Roger's side, so that is all good. Remarks, a little bit of cloud density, altitude 700 feet. Yeah, higher temperatures are causing that. But everything is looking very good, and currently up in... Kevin's having load-in issues at the moment. Not sure if he's going to make it or not. So currently the winds up in Juneau are giving me the wrong airfield. I don't know how that switched over to Anchorage. I want Juneau. Winds up in Juneau are almost non-existent, so we'll be good going in 3.8. Hey, Dead STK. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us. You're on the way in with the Phoenix? Alright. So for the new guys here that I haven't seen before, just so you're aware, all my flights are community flights. So flights like this, where we're on VATSIM for some of the airliners, you're more than welcome to come and join, fly along. And Wednesdays and Sundays we do multiplayer on Microsoft Flight Simulator, so a little bit more relaxed. And you can join us for those flights as well. All the information is posted on the Discord, the times, the aircraft, the routes we're flying, and you can find it there. And like I said, you are more than welcome to come and fly along. We're flying all kinds of aircraft all around the world, something different every day. We do series, but they're week to week, so in a 1 week period we're kind of bouncing around different things. So come over, come to the Discord, say hi, get the information. If you need help with any of the aircraft or the sim, I'm sure we've got enough people around that know what they're doing that can help you get going. So everybody is on board. Loading, fueling, and boarding is complete. Takeoff data is set. 132, 133, 138. Cruise altitude, we'll go dial that in. It's going to be flight level 340. Let's come around so we can see it. There we go, 340. Landing elevation 0 if we got to come back. That is all set. MCP we can set up. 263 is runway heading, so we'll make sure that is dialed in. That's going to be our initial mode for the autopilot. When we head out, we'll be on 263. Our speed is going to be V2 plus 20, so it will be 158 is our minimum climb speed. Of course, we'll go through that as we accelerate. Thanks, Lemon Wolf. Initial climb altitude is going to be 12,000 feet. We'll clear ourselves up higher after we go out of there. Again, we're going off on the Vancouver 2 departure, which is a straight out 5 miles in climbing, and vectors to the first waypoint after that. Oh yeah, I love the flight sim community with very 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 few exceptions. It's a welcoming crew that enjoys spreading the sim. You know, it's a great hobby, and it's a lot of fun to do when you're with other people. All right, so that's all done. Departure, we're set to go. Flight directors will come on both sides. And we'll go down to the radios. We're going to tune in 122.8, which is the Unicom frequency on VATSIM. There we go. And we should be hearing from them in the back anytime that they are ready.
We're on your time now.
There we go. So we'll come down here. We'll do our doors check.
The cabin crew, I'd like to welcome you aboard our
We'll
flight.
get that front door closed.
Be sure to place your larger carry-on items in the overhead bins and
Back
smaller
over
items
to our ground
If you have
services.
trouble finding a location for any of your carry-on
We're going to
items,
pull the
please use
jetway.
flight attendant call button over your
Ground
seat
power
and
can be
somebody will
released,
assist you.
and the chocks
After
can be
you put your
removed.
carry-on items in the
There goes
overhead
the
bin
jetway.
and it is full, make sure you close it as a courtesy to other passengers. Also, be sure that the aisle is
Do a quick look outside. It looks like everything is clear. There goes the GPU.
and the safety card provided for you. Please make sure
Will
that
we
you
be
are
getting
able
any
and willing to
ATC on
perform these
arrival?
actions.
At
If
the
you're not,
moment,
please let a flight
no.
attendant know so that way you can be reseated. Feel free to use your cell phones during the rest of the boarding process, but we
It
do
may
ask
change,
that laptops, tablets,
but
and
there's
any other
nobody
larger
online up in
electronic
Alaska
devices
right
are
now.
stored once we depart from the gate. Thank you and welcome aboard.
All right, so
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard Flight 3106 with service to Juneau. Our flight
David,
time will be
yes,
roughly
it-
1 hour and 53
it can be a little bit
Now that the
intimidating.
cabin door is closed, please make sure that all devices are in airplane mode and your large devices are now shut down
So,
and stowed. Please
yeah.
fasten your seatbelt and make sure that all tray
It's
tables
worth the
and
time
seat backs are in a
invested.
full upright lock position for departure.
I've got a
Cabin
little
crew,
bit of
prepare cabin
a
for
cheat
departure.
because I flew in real life for a number of years. Nothing this big, but smaller airplanes. But I got a basic knowledge. But if you take the time and learn, it's quite the achievement, and it's pretty good. Anyway, let's get ready for pushback. We'll get them to come out here, and we can do the thing. Yes, I want to request pushback. Thank you. There she comes. And you can do it as seriously as you want, or not. So
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
you can follow the rules like we're doing here in VATSIM and stuff. As I mentioned, Wednesdays and Sundays are multiplayer. We're a little bit more relaxed and joking around and talking and stuff. But you can just have fun with it. And it's great. I've been simming since right back when
Departure checks completed.
home flight
Bypass
sim
pin
started.
inserted.
And yeah, this is pretty impressive what they've done. And it's just getting better and better. Especially when you get aircraft like this, the Phoenix, some of the other paywares. The DC-6 I enjoy flying, which we're going to see back. It'll be back at some point, joining us again for a series. We took it around the world. That was a lot of fun. So it's good. So we're just waiting for them to hook up. Fly-by-wire is good. I went with the Phoenix just because it's a complete aircraft and it's all done. And the revision, version 2 that's coming up for it should be pretty impressive. But the fly-by-wire guys are doing amazing, and I'm so looking forward to the A380 to see what they do with that. All right, so we're going to be going nose to our right. We're going to be facing east on the inner taxiway.
Release parking brakes.
We'll come down here and parking brakes
Commencing
released.
push. All engines clear.
All right.
On it will.
So push is commencing. So beacon light is on. We're going to bring on the fuel pumps. We have no fuel in the center tank. We don't have to worry about that. Packs are going off for the engine start. Ignition mode selector is set to both. And starting engine number 2. Vancouver area traffic, Skyways 3106, gate 17, push and start facing east.
Please fasten your seatbelts low and tight across your lap. To fasten, insert the metal fittings into
Yeah, I don't know if
rudder,
it'll be
tighten by pulling
2023.
on
They
the
are
loose
making
end of the
progress,
seat.
so I
To
could be
release your
wrong,
seatbelt,
but
lift the upper portion
it'll
of the
be
buckle.
interesting.
We suggest that you keep your seatbelt fastened throughout the flight, as you may experience
And
unexpected
adding
turbulence.
fuel.
There are several emergency exits on this aircraft. Please take a few moments now to locate your nearest exit. In some cases, your nearest exit may be behind you. If we need to evacuate the aircraft, floor-level lighting will guide you towards the exit. In the event that the cabin loses pressure, an oxygen mask will drop right in front of you. To start the flow of oxygen, pull the mask towards you. Place it firmly over your nose and mouth, and secure the elastic band behind your head. Tighten the straps if necessary.
There we are on the line.
Although the bag does not inflate, oxygen is flowing to the mask. If you are traveling
Wait for
with a
starter
child or someone
cutout.
who requires assistance, secure your mask first and then assist others. Keep your mask on
Start
until a
valve
member of the
closed,
crew
starting
advises
engine
you
1.
to remove it. In the unlikely event of a water landing, a life vest is located in a pouch under your seat or between the armrests. When instructed to do so, open the plastic pouch and remove the vest. Slip it over your head. Wrap the straps around your waist and buckle at the
Adding
front.
fuel.
Pull the strap behind.
Waiting your confirmation for a
Parking
good
brakes
engine
are
start.
set.
Only when exiting the aircraft. If it doesn't inflate automatically, you may blow into the mouthpiece for manual inflation.
You get a beautiful day here, just a hint of cloud over the mountains to the north.
They're in their full upright position. We remind you that this is a non-smoking flight. Tampering with, disabling, or destroying the smoke detectors located in the lavatory
18, we should hear the bus. There we go, start valve closed. You can let them know.
Contact your ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect. Again, we hope you enjoy your flight.
So a good engine start, we come up to the overhead. Generators 1 and 2 are now on. Engine 1 and 2 start switches go to continuous. Probe heat is on. Engine anti-ice not required. Engine 1 and 2 bleeds will now come on. Packs will go to auto. Recirculation fan to auto. Isolation valve to auto. APU bleeds off. APU off.
Unlocking gear.
Coming back down, we are flaps 1 for takeoff, so it's flaps 1 selected and moving. Elevator trim, we want 6.9, we're currently at 4, 5, or 6.49, 6, 6.5 is set.
Bypass pin removed.
Oh, that sounds like a nice time.
Left is
Have a
clear.
great dinner, and
Right is clear.
hope you enjoy. Elevator trim is set. Flight controls. We'll come over to the systems page, do a quick check. There's full left, full right, neutral, full forward, full back, neutral, full left rudder, full right rudder, neutral. Engine instruments are checked. Everything is looking good. We'll bring them up onto the upper screen. We're going to select heading select and level change as our initial modes. Auto throttle is on. Warning recall is clear. We can kill the caution. Take a look out. There she is over there, giving us the wave. Thank you very much. And we are good to go. So, taxi light will come on. Don't need the logo lights and everything. It's still daytime. Auto brake to RTO, and we should be good to go. Everything is clear around the aircraft. She's walking away. One last thing we're going to do is set up my screen here. So I go traffic, data, terrain, 10 miles for the takeoff. And I set Roger to the Rose, 40 miles on the bubble, and traffic. Flaps 1 for takeoff. So when I use a calculator, which I've got a link to in the description, and it's a web-based calculator for all different kinds of aircraft. But I use it for all the Boeing products and stuff. And when I feed in my weights, the temperature, the winds, and everything, the runway length, it gives you the takeoff performance calculations, and part of that is the flaps, and it tells me I need flaps 1. So I set it into the FMC so the aircraft knows I'm using that, and then I set flaps 1 as we get ready for takeoff. All big aircraft use flaps for takeoff. Helps decrease the speed at which they need to take off. All right, let me pull up my chart. See if there's anybody in the area. Doesn't seem to be. Oh, I see Kevin's flight plan pre-filed, so he must be making progress. Vancouver area traffic, Skyways 3106, taxiing runway 26 left via the South Apron Echo Delta, holding short Delta 7 at Vancouver. Alright, parking brakes released. And away we go. So as we taxi out, we'd be making sure our gyros are working right as we make turns, make sure everything is spinning in the right directions, and we'll check that as we go out. We're watching the engines, make sure nothing spikes or gets out of whack, no warnings or cautions come up, and of course we'd be watching for other traffic and following the directions of the ground controllers here at Vancouver, if there were any. But they're not today. We had them last Friday when I had to return after that pressurization failure, but we're okay here, so make sure everything's turning the right way. Looks good. Standbys and ND, PFD are all rotating correctly in the right direction. First left is going to be Delta, as you can see on the sign there to the left. We're currently on Echo. So we're going to turn left and head down Delta. This is FS Dream Team's Vancouver. I do like it. It's a very nice looking airport. And oh, there's Kevin over there in his CYVR 737-700. Very nice. So he should be along shortly behind us. I've been in and out of Vancouver a couple times in the last couple years. Just to show you know how big where I am in the Toronto area. It's a 5 to 5.5 hour flight to get out here, depending on winds. So it's a big place. It's another almost hour and a half to 2 hours heading east to get to Halifax. So once we get down to the end of the runway, we're going to turn on our terrain radar. Or I've already got the terrain radar on, sorry. And we would turn on weather radar, but it's not yet implemented. I wish they would get that one sorted out. That would be really cool. So as per normal, once we're up and we're heading up towards the cruise, we'll put on some in-flight entertainment. The drinks and food will be available through the galley, and you can always sit back, relax, and enjoy the entertainment until we come back in time for the briefing. Right, you never get all the way to the West Coast? Yeah, I usually don't either, but I was out visiting friends, and then I did the Alaska cruise last year, so... Been out to Vancouver a couple times now. Are you heading back out to Winnipeg again? Well, at least it's not the winter time this time. So we're going to head right around to Delta 7. So when you come down here, we're not going to head up Whiskey, which takes us into that ramp there. We are going to come around here. This is Delta 5. Okay, Lemon Wolf, take care. We'll see you on the next one. This is Delta 7 coming up. Now, if we were big airplane, 777 or something, we go down to Delta 9, which would give us the entire runway, but over 10,000 feet, we don't need it all, not in this aircraft. So you can see we're 26 left, 08 right, and at Delta 7. There we go. So bring her to a stop. We'll get the parking brakes on. Engines are in idle. Alright, pre-departure checks. Fuel flow. We'll do a reset. We'll watch for fuel flow. Fuel flow is even to both engine V speeds are set 137 and 158. MCP is set. We have a minimum climb speed of 158, 263 on the heading, and an initial altitude of 12,000 feet. Navigation data is all set and ready to go. And the radios were checked. I don't know what's causing this switch. There's something that's doing it, and I don't know what it is. It's very, very annoying. Alright, so position lights are going to go to strobe and steady. Taxi light is coming off. Landing lights are coming on. Turn-off lights are coming on. Alright, that is set. Traffic is set. Transponder, we're going to set to 2000. And that is now set to mode
Vancouver,
C.
I think we're ready to check.
5x5.
Thank you very much.
And it's just the clock and the runway. So runway is identified. We're at 06 left. Release the brakes. Vancouver area traffic skyways 3106, taking position 26 left. Alright, so let's roll out. Get ourselves lined up and ready to go. Yeah, I noticed that it did that switch. There's something somewhere is changing my frequencies, and I don't know what it is. But I'm on Honeycomb now, and we did the radio check, so that's all good. Alright, the approach path is clear. So light winds coming down the runway, almost directly straight down, so we're not too bad. Get ourselves lined up. Yeah, I don't know what it is that's I'm gonna have to go back and see if there's a key bind or something there. Okay, Brian, take care. Enjoy dinner. Alright, so we are good to go. We are identified. We can start the clock. Engine's coming up to 40%. And stable. Vancouver area traffic skyways 3106, rolling 26 left, departure to the north. Brakes released. And takeoff power set. N1 and Toga. Airspeed's alive. $80 knots, check. There's Kevin at the gate.
V1
Back pressure. Ooh, a little bit of a hesitation there.
Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. All right, pitching up, following the flight directors. go. Command A. Level change and heading select are on. Turn off lights can come off. Turning to 263 runway heading. There we go. Engines are pulling back. Nose coming down for acceleration. Switch over to VNAV. There we are, nose dropping down. And we are going to turn now direct to YZT. We're going to LNAV. It's 2,600 feet. Put you on the legs page. And you can go to the climb page. There's our turn. Everything is looking good. Flaps up. And we'll clear ourselves right up to 34,000 feet. Continuing to accelerate to 250 knots. You can see we're going to be going up the passage here between Vancouver or BC mainland and Vancouver Island, which is over here. Weather's looking very nice. Nice views out the back. Alright, so we'll do our after takeoff checks as we pass through 6,000 feet. So we're positive rate. Gear is up. Autopilot is engaged. We're LNAV. VNAV. Auto brake is turned off. Gear lever is set in the off position. Engine start switches both go to off. Runway turnoff lights are off. Flaps have been retracted and are fully retracted. Cabin is pressurizing properly. Going to carry on climbing up. We are cleared directly through transition at 18,000 feet, so we'll switch over to standard pressure now. It's not going to make much difference. We're only 0.1 inches off. WestJet just took off out of Victoria. There's 10,000 feet. So we're going to retract the landing lights. Cabin pressure, do another check. Everything is working good there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now passing through 10,000 feet. You can now turn on your larger portable electronic devices. As a reminder, please keep your seatbelt fastened while you are seated and do not congregate in the galleys or near the lavatory. This aircraft is equipped with onboard Wi-Fi.
Seatbelt signs are off as well.
Wi-Fi, you'll be directed to a page to pay a small fee for internet access. We do offer complimentary in-flight TV thanks to our partners. Connect to the Wi-Fi and you'll be able to access our wide range of free live TV library.
So the cabin's pushing and starting. So you should be in the air very shortly.
The flight crew has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign. You can now get up and move around the cabin. However, we ask that you keep your seatbelt fastened when needed in case of unexpected turbulence.
Beautiful views outside. Come over here, we can kind of take a look from Roger's side. The beautiful BC mountains, the Rocky Mountains. We run all the way into Alberta. Some beautiful communities in the mountains here, in the valleys, down by the rivers and the lakes. So again, we're on our way up to 34,000 feet. We are at our higher altitude climb speed. A little bit of shipping down there in the water, we can see, but yeah, it is looking good. So let's get our map up so we can see it and see where we actually are today. And I'll move the chat so that it is not blocked by the flight map. There we go. And we are looking good. We're basically going to fly up to the north end of Vancouver Island, then we'll make a bit of a right-hand turn and head up towards Juneau, up along the coast. Once we pass 20,000 feet, we'll get settled in the back with some in-flight entertainment, and I'm going to go put the kettle on. When we do that, I won't be on the mic, but I'll be in the chat, so if you have any questions or anything, I will be there. Mr. Ryanair is here. Oh, God. Nope, not Ryanair. We're flying Aurora today. Alright, let's do the mountainside here so we can see the mountains out the window. I'll get the in-flight entertainment up. Everybody can sit back, relax, and enjoy. And we'll catch up with you when it's time to brief our arrival into Juneau. See you in a bit.
face downward.
What did you do then?
I hurried across the moor to fetch the doctor, Dr. Mortimer. He was at dinner with Miss Stapleton and her brother.
Very well, Barrowman. That's all.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Mortimer, To what do you attribute the death of Sir Charles?
Heart failure, sir. I might add that for some time Sir Charles was in a highly nervous state. Worried. Something was preying on his mind.
And did he confide to you what was preying on his mind?
Well, no.
Well, then what about those footprints, Mortimer? As though Sir Charles had been tiptoeing back towards the house. I examined them myself, and as a man of science,
So did I, Mr. Stapleton. More likely Sir Charles was running.
Running? Running from what?
If you please, gentlemen, one at a time.
Why don't you tell the truth, all of you? Tell all you know.
Silence, Mr. Franklin. You've already testified you were not there and know nothing whatever of this matter.
Nevertheless, I insist he was murdered. Murdered, I tell you.
That will do, sir, that will do. There were no marks on the body of any kind, Dr. Mortimer?
No.
Then, as his physician, what would you say was the cause of Sir Charles's death?
Most emphatically a heart failure, sir.
Such, then, gentlemen, is the verdict of this coroner's court.
Call it what you like. Sir Charles was murdered. There's more than one person in this room knows I speak the truth.
Blessed man, know why on earth you want all these clippings about this Baskerville fellow.
I've an idea, Watson, that young Sir Henry isn't destined for a very long existence in this world.
What?
My conjecture is that he'll be murdered.
Murdered?
It'll be very interesting to see if my deductions are accurate.
Oh, Mr. Holmes, while you were out, a gentleman called to see you and left this.
He asked you to give it to me?
Oh, no, sir. He just left it by mistake, I imagine.
Dr. Mortimer?
He didn't leave his name, sir.
No, it's here on the stick, Mrs. Hudson.
Oh, is it? I didn't notice.
Do you know any Dr. Mortimer, Watson?
Huh? What did he want?
He didn't say, sir.
What do you make of it, Watson?
Why should I make anything of it? The fellow came to see you.
Ah, but what kind of a fellow? Let me hear you reconstruct him from his walking stick by our usual method of elementary observation.
Well, I should say that Dr. Mortimer is a successful man, well esteemed.
Good. Excellent.
I should say that he does a great deal of his visiting on foot, because the iron ferrule is worn down.
Perfectly sound.
Let's have a look at this inscription. From his friends of the CCH. CCH. I should say that's the something or other hunt.
Really, Watson, you've excelled yourself.
Does anything escape me?
Almost everything, my dear fellow.
Huh?
A present to a doctor, I'd say, is more likely to come from a hospital than a hunt. And when the letters CC are placed before the hospital, the name Charing Cross Hospital rather obviously presents itself.
You may be right.
Furthermore, I'd say that Dr. Mortimer had a small practice in the country and was the owner of a dog.
How can you tell that?
Quite simple. From the teeth marks. Look, you can see for yourself. A rather large dog, I'd say. And unless I'm mistaken, Dr. Mortimer will call on us again in a few moments.
Rubbish, Holmes. Rubbish. How the devil can you deduce that?
Well, as he left his stick, isn't it reasonable to presume that he'll come back and get it?
Dr. Mortimer, sir.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes. Come in, Dr. Mortimer.
I took the liberty of calling upon you.
And left your stick.
Oh, so I did. Thank you so much.
A presentation, I see.
Yes, sir, from Charing Cross Hospital.
This is my friend, Dr. Watson.
Of course.
How do you do, sir?
Mr. Holmes, you're the one man in all England who can help me.
Well, won't you sit down?
Thank you. A friend of mine is in grave danger.
May I inquire his name?
Sir Henry Baskerville, heir to the estate of Baskerville Hall. I'm in mortal fear Sir Henry's life will be snuffed out.
Why, what makes you think that?
I have information which leads me to believe that for centuries past, every Baskerville who's inherited the estates has met with a violent and sudden death.
But as I recall it, Sir Charles died from natural causes, heart failure.
Apparently. And that was the verdict of the coroner, in which I, as Sir Charles' physician, concurred. But there was one point which I kept back from the police. From everybody.
Yes?
About 50 yards from where Sir Charles fell dead were footprints.
In a few moments,
Man's
our
or a
lovely
woman's?
flight attendants will be
Mr.
starting our
Holmes.
in-flight service. We'll
They
be
were the
serving
footprints of a
complimentary drinks and
gigantic
snacks.
hound.
Premium drinks
A
are
hound?
available for a small charge.
Well, why didn't you
Please
report it?
note we only
Not a
accept
soul would have
credit
believed it.
cards.
But during the night it rained, and in the morning the marks were completely obliterated. But I saw them as clearly as I see you. And then, a few days ago, as one of the executors of the estate, I found this old document.
Legend of the Hound of the Baskervilles.
Let me read it to you, Mr. Holmes. It's quite short. I won't bore you, I promise.
Yes, please, go on.
In the time of the Great Rebellion, about 1650, Baskerville Manor was held by Hugo of that name, a profane and godless man. One Michaelmas, this Hugo stole down upon a neighboring farm and carried off the daughter of the house. He locked her in an upper chamber, and while Hugo and his friends were carousing, as was their nightly custom,
Such a cuddlesome little wench never existed before, I swear. Cheeks soft as velvet, and form so wondrously rounded. Tell us more. What happened then? Where was I? Form, you were saying. Oh, yes. No need to cry out, I told her. Hugo will not hurt you. With that, I whisked her up on my saddle, covered her with my cloak, and we were off like the wind. You brought her here? To the manor. Where is she? Go fetch her, Hugo.
Easier said than done, eh, Hugo? How can he fetch her if she isn't here?
Oh, she isn't, eh? Come on, I'll show you. I'll take a look. She's really in here? May we come in, my sweet? These drunken sots would give Hugo the... There is no girl. Gone! Gone! Out of my way! What ails him? Hugo! What did it do? Get in! Yes, Sir Hugo. What's wrong, sir? She's gone, the wench! Well, don't stand there gaping. Go bring my mare. What's wrong? I've never seen him in such a rage. Where's he gone? Let's follow him. Let's go, Roderick. Farewell. Come on, Matthew. Hold the stirrup, you blockhead. I'll give my soul to the devil for that wench. You hear how he pledged his soul to the devil for that wench? Well, may he find her and wed her, then the devil will have his soul.
On and on they rode, until suddenly they came upon the body of the girl. Dead. Then, from just over a rise, they heard sounds so hideous that the blood froze in their veins, and looking up, they beheld... Before we could get at him, Sir Hugo was dead, his body literally torn to shreds. Such is the history of the hound that has cursed the Baskerville family ever since, many having been unhappy in their deaths that have been sudden, violent, and mysterious. Well, Mr. Holmes.
Interesting. Very interesting.
What do you think?
I don't know.
But Henry's arriving from Canada tomorrow. Please understand my dilemma, my responsibility. I was Sir Charles' best friend. My duty is to protect that boy. If I should take him down there to Baskerville Hall and anything happened to him...
What I'd suggest, Dr. Mortimer, is that when Sir Henry arrives, you bring him here.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Holmes. You don't know what a load you've taken off my mind. Good night, Dr. Watson.
Good night, sir. You've left Charles sick again.
Oh, thank you.
By the by, Dr. Mortimer, you have a dog.
I have no dog.
Then how do you account for these marks? Evidently the teeth marks of a dog.
I used to have a dog, a small spaniel, but it died. Good night.
Good night. Well, Holmes, what do you make of it? Do you think there's anything in it? Good heavens, you're not going to start scratching on that infernal thing, are you?
Dear old Watson.
Goodbye, Sir Henry. If you ever go back to Canada, be sure you sail with us.
Thanks. You've all been wonderful. The very best of luck, sir. And the same to you.
This
Goodbye.
way, Sir Henry. Ah, here you are, Sonny.
Thank you, sir.
And you?
Thank you, Sir Henry.
And you?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
sir. Oh, Sir Henry. Oh, it's too bad it's all over. Just when you and Betsy Ann were really getting to know each other.
Oh, but we are going to see one another in London, aren't we, Sir Henry?
Oh, I should love to. But, I have to go down to the country, unfortunately.
To your ancestral estate. How exciting. Perhaps, Betsy Ann, if you're very good, Sir Henry will ask us to visit him.
Of course, yes.
We're staying at the Savoy.
Don't forget.
I will.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Sir Henry?
Yes?
I'm Dr. Mortimer. Your uncle was my best friend.
How do you do? Thank you for coming to meet me.
Not at all, my dear boy. Did you have a pleasant trip?
Splendid, thank you.
I've taken rooms for you at the Northumberland Hotel, where I'm stopping.
Fine.
I assume you'll be staying in London for a few days?
Yes, I haven't seen it since I was a boy.
Thank you, sir. Northumberland Hotel. Sir Charles's death was a great personal loss to me. I was more than his doctor.
What's this?
What are those words?
You mind, Sir Henry?
No, not at all. What do you make of it, Mr. Holmes? Why do you think that last word is printed in ink?
Oh, that's simple enough. The words have been snipped from the London Times. That's evident from the typography. But the word moor is an unusual word. Your correspondent evidently couldn't find it in the newspaper. You'll admit, Dr. Mortimer, there's nothing supernatural about this.
Supernatural?
Tell me, Sir Henry, has anything else unusual happened to you today since your arrival in London?
I can't think of anything. Unless you'd say that losing one of your boots is unusual.
You lost one of your boots?
Yes, and brand new ones, too. Never had them on. I put them outside the door to be clean, and when I went to fetch them, there was only one there.
Brand new boots, and you put them on to be clean?
They were tan ones, Dr. Watson. It prevents them from scratching to have them polished first. Now, will you please tell me what this is all about? Dr. Mortimer bringing me here to see you. This letter.
It's about you, Sir Henry. Your inheritance, Baskerville Hall. And Dr. Mortimer thinks that it might not be safe for you to go down there.
Safe?
On account of a hound. A wild, supernatural monster that has cursed you Baskervilles for the last 200 or 300 years.
Oh, that sounds grand. A family ghost, eh? Why didn't you tell me about this before, Dr. Mortimer?
Well, Mr. Holmes suggested. He's going to tell you about it now, Sir Henry. Take him back to the hotel, Dr. Mortimer. Show him that old document. Tell him everything, the whole business. I'll join you a little later.
Come on, we'll stroll back. You can tell me on the way.
This is not something to joke about, Sir Henry, believe me.
See you presently. Good night. What's up? Shh. Come on, Watson. What's up now? Where are we going? You'll see soon enough. We've not a moment to lose. Keep your eye on that hansom.
This letter dates back to about 1650.
Good evening, Painter. Get your paper, evening paper. Evening paper, sir. Get your evening paper. Get your paper, evening paper. Evening paper, sir. Tells all the latest news that's going on, sir. Tells all about it. Thank you, sir. Evening paper. A dissident, drunken fellow. But he was a dissident.
Look out! Stop! Whip up, cabby. Whip up, I say.
Very good, sir.
Who was it?
I don't know, but it's just as I expected.
Hadn't we better hurry on and warn them?
No. They're not in any danger now. Here's the number of that hansom. Find out from Scotland Yard who the cabby is, and if you can, fetch him along to the hotel.
I'll do my best.
Well, now that Dr. Mortimer has told you everything, what have you decided?
To go there, of course.
Good. That's what I thought you'd say.
And if Dr. Mortimer will only guarantee that this supernatural hound of his will really appear, I'd call the radio.
Oh, don't say that, my boy.
Sounds like a bogey story they tell kids to frighten them at night, doesn't it, Mr. Holmes?
Yes, rather. It might interest you to know, however, that you were shadowed from my house.
Shadowed?
Yes, and probably have been ever since you arrived in London.
By whom?
I don't know. A man in a hansom. He must have seen me run after him and had the cabby dash off. Oh, well, bye. Did you ever discover your mislaid boot?
No. Hello? Well, the brown one's here, but one of the black ones is gone. I'll ring for the chambermaid. Perhaps she can explain.
Yes, do.
Now, why should anyone want to take an odd boot and then exchange a brand new one for an old one?
Can you explain it, Mr. Holmes?
No, I can't.
Come in.
Did you ring, sir?
Yes, about that boot of mine.
Oh, I haven't found it yet, sir. I've made inquiries all over the hotel.
Well, it's back, the brown one, but now one of my black ones is gone.
Oh, sir, that is odd.
Who else except yourself has access to this apartment?
Only the housekeeper, sir, and she wouldn't do a thing like that.
No, of course not.
I'm terribly sorry, sir. I'll do my best to find your boot.
All right, thanks.
Oh.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Dr. Watson.
I've got him. Come on in, Clayton. Come this way. This is John Clayton, number 2704.
How do you do, Clayton? Won't you sit down? Won't keep you long. It's good of you to come.
Thank you, sir.
Now, Clayton, I wish you'd tell us who your fare was that watched a certain house on Baker Street this evening and later followed these two gentlemen.
Well, I'm glad to you know as much as I do, sir.
Well, not quite as much, I hope.
The gent said as how he was a detective, sir.
Oh, he did?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. How would you describe this gentleman, Clayton?
I suppose about 35 years of age, sir. Dressed like a toff. And a small black beard.
And color of his eyes?
I can't say, sir.
I see. When did he tell you that he was a detective?
At the station, sir. When he gave me the 2 guineas, what he'd promised me.
Did he tell you his name?
Yes, sir.
What did he say it was?
Sherlock Holmes.
What?
Well, it's the name what he gave me, sir. Sherlock Holmes.
Well, whoever it is at least has a sense of humor. Here, Clayton. Here's something for your trouble.
Thank you, sir. Thank you kindly, sir. Is there anything else I can tell you, sir?
Nothing at all, I think.
Oh, sir. Good day, sir.
Good day.
Good day, gentlemen. Well, Mr. Holmes, have we progressed, do you think?
Perhaps. Tell me, Sir Henry, when were you planning to go down to Dartmoor?
Immediately, tomorrow. I'm really awfully keen to see the old place.
You'll accompany us, Mr. Holmes.
I'd like to very much, Dr. Mortimer, but unfortunately I have some rather pressing business here in London.
Of course, and there's no need. Please don't think me ungrateful, Dr. Mortimer. I do appreciate your concern for me. But this story of the hound, it's nonsense. As for that silly letter and all the rest of it, I'm sure it can all quite easily be explained.
I quite agree with you, Sir Henry. All the same, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask Dr. Watson to go down with you.
What's that?
If you don't mind, Watson.
Gladly, if you care to come.
Of course. I'll be delighted.
Good.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Watson, and thank you, sir.
Then we'll stalk the hound together.
Now, don't take it too lightly, Sir Henry. Well, I must be going.
Mr. Holmes.
Yes, Dr. Mortimer.
About that person calling himself Sherlock Holmes.
Very interesting, Dr. Mortimer. You'll keep me posted, Watson. Write me daily reports.
To the smallest detail, Holmes.
Fine. I give him into your care, Sir Henry. Guard him well. Good night.
Guard me well. I like that. Oh, God.
Here we are, Sir Henry, on famous Dartmoor. And what a history it has. You see those rocks over there? Actually, they're stone houses built by Neolithic man 50, 100,000 years ago.
You don't suppose the Baskervilles go back that far?
And over there, beyond that hill, those dark spots. That's the great Grimpen Mire. As treacherous a morass as exists anywhere. Thousands of lives have been sucked down into its bottomless depths.
Cheerful little spot.
Fascinating.
Oh, it is, Sir Henry. And mysterious. No wonder the people about here have such odd beliefs. Some will tell you that nothing ever really dies upon the moor. And after a time, one gets to believe it.
Really?
You believe that? Of course not. If I believed all the legends about this place, I wouldn't live here. I wouldn't have the courage. And now, if you look, Baskerville Hall, the home of your ancestors, Sir Henry. How are you, Barrowman?
Very well, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mrs. Barrowman, the butler, Sir Henry, and Mrs. Barrowman.
Welcome, Sir Henry. Welcome to Baskerville Hall.
Thank you. Barrowman was with your uncle most of his life, as was his father before him.
Well, I hope you'll be just as happy here with me.
Thank you, Sir Henry.
Baskerville Hall. And just as has always been, Sir Henry, your uncle did some modernizing upstairs, but down here nothing has been added or taken away since Sir Hugo's time.
Well, I wouldn't say it's the most cheerful spot I've ever seen.
I beg your pardon, sir. What time do you wish dinner served, sir?
Early, I think. Dr. Mortimer has to drive home. Tell the coachman to have the carriage ready after dinner.
I'll tell him, sir. Now, I suppose you'd like to freshen up. There's hot water in your room, sir. I'll show the way.
Thank you.
Be careful, sir. These steps are a bit in need of repair.
Startle you. You might be asleep. What is it? Come quickly. Someone's prowling around.
What are you doing, Barrowman?
Oh, nothing, sir. The window.
Window?
Yes, sir. I was just seeing that it was fastened.
Well, does it matter whether it's fastened or not? The window on the second floor.
I go around every night seeing that they're fastened. Sir Charles always insisted upon it.
Well, that sounds reasonable enough.
Well, if it's properly fastened now, Barrowman, we can get back to bed.
Yes, sir.
See anything?
No.
Nothing except a pinpointed light a long way off, over there by the crags.
Keep your eye on that point of light. Tell me what happened. You see anything now?
It's gone now. There it is again. And there it goes.
Just as I thought. Harriman was signaling to someone. Come on, get some clothes. We'll find out.
It's still there.
Yes. Try not to lose sight of it. May come back.
What about getting a little further away from that light? Up there.
Good idea. Stop! Are you mad? Whoever it is knows his way among these rocks. We don't.
Who the devil can it be? You were right about Barrowman.
Yes, but what connection can there possibly be between that horrible creature and Barrowman?
You know, I've half a mind to fire the fellow in the morning, then notify the police and let them shadow him.
No, it's the last thing that Holmes would want us to do. Our job is to watch Barrowman. Watch him like a hawk. Come on, let's get back.
What do you think it is?
What does it sound like to you?
Well, if we were back in London, this would seem ridiculous.
Let's get on.
Look here, Doctor. You don't believe that nonsense, do you?
Of course not. No more than you do.
Morning.
Morning, Sir Henry.
So that's our famous Moor, eh?
Yes, sir.
Come in. Oh, where's Sir Henry?
He went out, sir.
Where?
Across the moor.
Didn't I tell you to let me know immediately if Sir Henry ever ventured out there alone?
I know, but I only just found out from my wife.
Hello there! Oh, forgive my shouting at you, Dr. Watson. My name's Stapleton. Live just across the moor.
How did you know my name, sir?
Oh, from Dr. Mortimer, one of our neighbors.
Oh, yes, sir.
Hi, Sir Henry.
He's very well, thank you.
Well, we were a bit worried he might decide not to come here. After the rumors that followed the sad death of Sir Charles, has Mr. Sherlock Holmes come to any conclusion yet?
I really can't say.
Oh, is he going to honor us with a visit?
I haven't the slightest idea.
Well, if I can be of any help, I do hope you'll call upon me. I know this place pretty well.
Thank you, but I don't think I shall be needing any help.
Wonderful place, this moor. From a scientist's point of view, there's nothing like it. Vast, barren, mysterious. You see those bright green spots over there?
Seems a little more fertile than the rest.
Fertile? That's the great Grimpen Mire. One false step means death. Only yesterday, one of the moor ponies wandered into it. Turned me sick with horror to see it struggling, and the sound of its screams... What's that? Oh, that. Well, the people round here say it's the hound.
Surely you don't believe such rot?
Bogs make queer noises. Or perhaps it's a bittern booming.
A bittern?
Yes, a very rare bird. Practically extinct. If anything is extinct on the moor.
Stop! Stop! Look out! Stop!
That was a voice. A woman's voice.
Thank heavens you heard me. Another few yards, you'd have been into that mire. Looks innocent, doesn't it? But only yesterday, a little moor pony got into it. And that was the end of it.
Well, thank you for shouting at me.
You're Sir Henry?
Yes.
Oh. I suppose I should say welcome, Sir Henry. But I'm afraid it wouldn't be sincere.
Oh, that's understandable. A stranger coming here and taking the place of someone you were fond of.
Oh, it's not that.
No? Tell me, what is it?
Sounds silly, I know.
Oh, it's not that ridiculous hound legend.
I never used to believe those things till I came to live down here.
But you do now.
You're rich. You can go anywhere you want to. There are so many other places to live in the world. Interesting places.
Just now, I find this place very interesting.
Why, hello, Beryl.
Hello.
Oh, Dr. Watson, my stepsister, Miss Stapleton.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Hello, Doctor.
And this, I'm sure, must be...
Oh, Sir Henry, my brother.
How are you?
I was just telling Dr. Watson how delighted we are you decided to come here.
I'm here and to stay.
Oh, that's splendid. You know, it's been quite dull down here since the hall's been closed.
It's wide open now, especially to friends of my uncle. You must both come and dine with me.
You must come to us first.
Yes, what about tomorrow night? You and Dr. Watson. We'll invite the neighbors over to meet you. Of course, you already know Dr. Mortimer. The only other one's old Mr. Franklin.
Who's he?
Oh, wait till you meet him, Sir Henry. He'll bring suit against you, I warn you.
What on earth for?
You'll find something. Suing people is a passion with him.
I'll look forward to meeting him.
All right, tomorrow night, then.
Thank you. And thank you again for rescuing me.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And were it not a personal insult to Sir Henry, I would never have come here this evening.
Oh, but why, Mr. Frank?
As a stickler for convention. I'm not in the habit of breaking bread with my host on the eve of prosecuting him.
Great heavens, what crime have I committed now?
A most gruesome one, Mr. Stapleton. That of body snatching.
What?
You're a body snatcher, sir. A ghoul, a despoiler of graves.
Oh, come, Mr. Franklin. That's a very serious charge.
Oh, Beryl, refill Mr. Franklin's glass, will you?
Thank you, my dear. And an excellent vintage it is, too. But if you're implying that I'm tipsy, sir...
Oh, of course he's not.
Tell us more, Mr. Franklin. Whose body has Mr. Stapleton been snatching?
According to my evidence, sir, Mr. Stapleton was seen digging among the old stone huts on the moor and removed from there a skull.
Oh, that? A most interesting relic, Sir Henry, of Neolithic man. I'll show it to you after dinner. 50,000 years old if it's a day.
Nonetheless, sir, you removed it from the grave without the consent of the next of kin. And according to British law, that constitutes body snatching. Deny that if you can.
But what good will it do you to prosecute Mr. Stapleton?
None, sir. I have no interest in the matter. I act entirely from a sense of public duty. If you care to drop by my house someday and take a tipple of wine with me, I'd be glad to tell you a thing or two about everybody here. About him, prowling the Grimpen Mire at nights, and why he takes hand with it.
Oh, there's no secret about us. As you know, I dabble a bit in the occult. Mrs. Mortimer has very strong mediumistic qualities. She finds the old caves on the moor particularly conducive to psychic phenomena.
Very interesting.
Have you ever tried to communicate with my uncle since his death?
Oh, yes, on several occasions, with no success. But if my wife would consent to a seance tonight, while you, Sir Henry, are present, we might...
No, no, James, not tonight. Please.
Perhaps some other time. Shall we have coffee in the drawing room?
If you and Dr. Watson would care to see my little collection.
Oh, yes, the scout.
Yes, we're in here.
I'd like to very much.
Quite a museum.
Oh, a very modest little collection. But this one really is quite a treasure. You'll observe its unusual cranial index.
Gentlemen, my wife has consented. She's agreed to a seance.
Splendid.
Oh, fine.
Please come at once. Now then, if you'll all get chairs and arrange yourselves naturally, comfortably here by the fire.
As Shakespeare says, you can call spirits from the vasty deep, but will they answer?
They'll not answer scoffers or skeptics. If that's your attitude, Mr. Franklin, perhaps you wouldn't mind leaving us.
Oh, I'm sure Mr. Franklin didn't mean to doubt.
Of course I don't. And I ask you to keep a civil tongue in your head, Dr. Mortimer. Ordering me out from under the roof of my host is grounds for a very nasty little lawsuit.
Oh, come now, Mr. Franklin. Sit down by me.
Now, tonight we may communicate with Sir Charles. Find out what he feared so greatly. What he was running away from. Now, Jennifer, you sit here, please. Sir Henry, here. Or would you please put out those lights?
Certainly.
Stapleton, that light, please. Dr. Watson. Now, if you all keep quiet, sit quite naturally.
Sir Henry, your hand, please. Sir Charles, can you speak to us? Let us know if you're present. There are things that only you can explain. Speak to us, Sir Charles, if you're here. There are things that only you can tell us. Sir Charles, can you speak to us? Let us know if you're present. There are things that only you can tell us. Speak to us, Sir Charles, if you're here. There are things that only you can explain.
That sound. I've heard it before.
It's nothing. Nothing but the wind.
Or a bittern. I was telling Dr. Watson only yesterday about it.
Sir Charles? What happened that night? What was it you feared? Tell us, Sir Charles, of all the weird, terrible things that have happened on the moor.
Listen. There it is again. Oh, I can't stand it. Will somebody put on the lights, please?
I tell you, it's nothing. Nothing but the wind.
Mr. Franklin, what did you think it was?
The hound, of course. The hound of the Baskervilles. Any fool would know that.
James, get my cape. Take me home.
There you are, my dear.
Dr. Watson, can I give you and Sir Henry a lift?
No, thank you. We have our own carriage.
You're trembling.
That wasn't the wind we heard. I've heard that sound before, often. That's what I tried to tell you yesterday on the moor. That's why I wish you hadn't come here.
But sounds can't hurt you. It doesn't matter what they are or where they come from.
You don't know.
Oh, you've got to get all that nonsense out of your head, Beryl.
I wish I could.
You're going to. I'm going to make it my business to see that you do. You've been alone too much. There's nothing to do down here. That's the trouble. I'm going to change all that, if you let me. We'll go fishing together, riding. You like riding?
Yes, I do.
Good. We'll start tomorrow, shall we?
Yes, thanks.
Fine. I'll ride over for you in the morning.
You coming, Sir Henry?
Right, Doctor. Good night.
Good night.
Hello, Beryl. Well, where shall we go today?
There's one place we haven't been. High Tor.
Fine.
That's where all the old ruins are. You know, Jack says that they're over 50,000 years old.
That sounds interesting.
And you can still see the remains of their stone huts.
All right, good.
Those flattish stones over there, they're graves. Oh, and those huge ones, monoliths, the remains of their temples.
Doesn't anybody know who they were or what they looked like?
Jack has some theory about them. But anyway, they must have been very primitive, living on roots and dressing in skins.
But still laughing and dreaming, just as we do. I wonder how many times some young savage brought his bride into this very hut. Said, take your hat off, darling, this is home.
You know, this is probably where she cooked his first meal for him.
What a yell he must have let out when she burnt it up.
And now they're quite forgotten.
Just as we will be, too, one day. Do you suppose when a man met a girl that he liked, he had to wait a respectably long time before he dared tell her? Or things like that, sudden, natural?
I'd like to think that things were like that.
Beryl, that's the way they are with me.
Oh. Oh, but we've only known each other such a little while.
Here, you see, convention, custom. We can't even be ourselves when we want to be. Why is that?
You know, I used to come down here quite often and explore these old caves when Jack and I first came to live here. I didn't have the fear of the moor then.
And you've none now, that's all gone.
Oh. When I'm with you, it's gone. I seem to forget it, laughing and talking. When I'm alone, it all comes back to me. And at night, I still wake up trembling, as if in my sleep I could hear those awful noises. And it gets bad as ever, and I think of you, and I wish you weren't here.
Oh, don't say that.
Well, I wish you were in London or in Canada.
But even if I wanted to go back to London or Canada, I couldn't.
Why not?
You know why. You must know why. I can't go anywhere now, unless you come with me.
Oh, Henry.
Would you mind pausing for a minute? I'm afraid I've lost my way.
Oh, hello, Doctor. Sir Henry and I were just...
We were getting engaged.
Engaged? Splendid. May I congratulate you both?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who is that?
It seems that we didn't pick a very secluded spot.
What do you want?
Just crossing the moor, sir. Just crossing the moor. I'd be peddling my wares, sir. I must have something here would interest you, sir. How about a nice mouth organ, sir?
No, thank you.
Here's something an old squire like you could use, sir. A fussel. A fussel for calling your sheepdog.
Calling my what?
Sheepdog, sir. A regular charmer, sir.
Hear him for miles around, sir. Take it away and yourself with it.
I'll get some scent for the lady, sir.
That'll do. Be off about your business.
All right, sir. I ain't doing no harm. I ain't doing no harm.
You know, that's what I hate about this moor. There's always something strange.
Look, he's limping on the other foot now. Batterman?
Yes, sir.
Who delivered this note?
No one, sir. I found it slipped under the front door.
Thank you.
Bannerman, is Sir Henry at home?
No, sir. He's gone across the moor.
Oh, I'm sorry I missed him. Did Dr. Watson go with him?
No, sir.
Oh, thank you, Bannerman.
I'll tell Sir Henry you called, sir.
Yes, do.
Was it you who sent me that communication?
I did, sir.
Out with it. Whatever it is you want me to hear.
I only want you to hear this zither, sir.
Zither?
He don't come no finer, sir.
What blasted impertinence. Getting me out here to say... Look here, my man. You're up to something.
I only ask you to try him, sir.
Be careful. This thing's loaded. Who are you?
Well, I might ask the same of you, sir. Prowling around the moor, spying out on everybody.
That's my business. To spy.
Oh, what is it?
Yes, and if you want to know who I am, I'll tell you.
Who are ye?
I'm Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes, the detective?
Yes, and now perhaps you realize why I can't be hoodwinked.
Oh, sir, that changes everything.
Now, who are you? Quick!
Well, in that case, sir,
My name must be Watson.
Holmes!
How are you, my dear fellow? A fine detective you are, calling yourself Sherlock Holmes.
So you've been down here on the moor all the time? That's a fine way to treat me, I must say. Send me down here. Let me think that you were in London, working on that blackmail case. Let me sit up half the night. writing those blasted reports.
Theory reports, my dear Watson, and very valuable they were, too. I made arrangements to have them forwarded on to me.
A shabby trick, which I'll not forget.
Ah, but a very necessary trick. If I'd come down here with you and Sir Henry, every movement of mine would have been watched. While in this way, only you and Sir Henry have been watched, and I've been free to work.
That's all very well, but making a fool of me...
Sit down, Watson. Do sit down. Perhaps a little supper will help you to get over your huff.
Huff? I'm in no huff.
Here, try some of these sardines. It's a pity I didn't know you were coming. I'd have provided a brace of pheasants.
It's a pity you didn't think of bringing down that infernal violin of yours to regale me with some of your enchanting music.
I did, my dear Watson. Anything to oblige. Well, if you've had enough to eat, Watson, and you're feeling of better spirits, I think we'd better be getting along.
Getting along where? I'm not crying.
I'm returning with you to Baskerville Hall. There's still some gaps to be filled in, but all in all, things are becoming a little clearer.
Not to me, I assure you. Still a hopeless jumble. Mr. Franklin, Dr. Mortimer, the Barrowmans, put it all together, and what have you got?
Murder, my dear Watson. Refined, cold-blooded murder.
Murder?
There's no doubt about it in my mind. Or perhaps I should say in my imagination. That's where crimes are conceived and where they're solved. In the imagination.
There's been no murder. Unless you mean St. Charles. And the facts clearly indicated that he died from heart failure.
That's why so many murders remain unsolved, Watson. People will stick to facts, even though they prove nothing. Now, if we go beyond facts, use our imagination as the criminal does. Imagine what might have happened. Act upon it, as I've been trying to do in this case. We usually find ourselves justified.
Then you know?
Another day, two at the most, and I will know. My one fear is the murder will strike before we're ready. In that case...
What's that?
Where's it coming from?
There.
No. There. The hound. Come on, Watson, quick. And fallen over the cliff.
He's dead.
Skull crushed in.
The convict. Thank heaven. What? That's the man I shot at the night we arrived. The man Barrowman was signaling to. Who is it?
A Notting Hill murderer. He escaped from prison last month. Been hiding on the moor ever since.
Notting Hill murderer? Do you mean that he is responsible for all this?
That remains to be seen.
But he's wearing Sir Henry's clothes.
Yes, that accounts for it.
Accounts for what?
For the hound. These clothes were the cause of that poor devil's death.
Do you mean that the hound was after Sir Henry?
Yes, and mistook the convict for him because of the scent of the clothes. Do you remember that missing boot, Watson? Why do you suppose the brown one, the one that had never been worn, was so mysteriously replaced and the black one taken?
Why?
Because a boot that had never been worn wouldn't have had the scent of the owner, and the black one had.
But how does this convict come to be wearing Sir Henry's clothes?
Oh, well, that's simple enough.
Why, Dr. Watson. Somebody hurt? Who's this?
The convict who escaped from Princeton.
Oh, terrible. I heard a cry. That's what brought me over here. What's your theory about it, Mr. Holmes?
You're quick at identification.
Oh, everybody knows you, sir. As a matter of fact, we've been expecting you down here. My name's Stapleton.
How'd you do?
You came in time to see a tragedy.
Yes. It's a most unpleasant remembrance for me to take back to London tomorrow.
Oh, must you go so soon? I've been looking forward to meeting you.
Yes, I'm afraid I must.
We were hoping, Mr. Holmes, that you may be able to shed some light on the occurrences that have puzzled us down here.
Yes, but an investigator needs something more than legends and rumors.
Oh, quite so.
Give me a hand, will you, Watson? We'd better put this poor fellow in one of the huts till the morning.
Well, let me give you a hand.
Oh, I think we can manage all right, thank you.
Where's Sir Henry Barrowman?
In the library, sir.
Now, Barrowman, if your wife's still up, will you tell her Mr. Sherlock Holmes would like a word with her?
Sherlock Holmes?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Sir Henry. Holmes.
I'm glad to see you so well, Sir Henry.
Why didn't you tell me Mr. Holmes was coming?
Well, I was...
Oh, he didn't know. We ran across each other in the village.
I am glad to see you. What is it, Barrowman?
Oh, I asked to see Mrs. Barrowman, if you don't mind, Sir Henry.
Of course not.
Come in, Mrs. Barrowman. I think you'd better sit down.
Thank you, sir. I prefer to stand.
I'm afraid I've some rather bad news for you.
What is it?
Well, it's going to be a bit of a shock.
Oh. They've caught him.
Your brother...
They'll hang him for sure.
No, Mrs. Barrowman. He's beyond the law now. He's in more merciful hands. We came upon the poor fellow as we were crossing the moor. He must have missed his footing and fallen over the cliff. No further need, Barrowman, to signal to him from the window or take food out to him or give him Sir Henry's discarded clothes.
Go, Sir Henry. It was all my doing. Barrowman here wanted to tell you all along so as you could notify the police. But he was my kin, my own kin. Even though he wasn't never any good.
We understand.
You won't hold it against Barrowman, will you, sir?
Of course not. Now take her along and see that she's all right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Well, it's nice to get that in cleared up, for their sake as well as mine.
It clears up everything, I think, Sir Henry. That poor devil must have been completely demented.
And that accounts for those dreadful noises that we've been hearing from time to time.
Exactly. Your troubles are over, Sir Henry.
I really am most grateful, Mr. Holmes.
Oh, not at all. I've done little enough. But you can sleep peacefully in your bed now and commence to lead the life of a happy country squire.
Well, not for a little bit, I'm afraid. I'm off to Canada again.
Canada?
Beryl, Miss Stapleton and I are going to be married.
Miss Stapleton?
A very charming young lady. Congratulations.
Everything's arranged. Her brother's giving us a farewell party tomorrow night. We'll be married in London the following day, and then off for a honeymoon to Canada.
My congratulations too, Sir Henry.
Thanks. What luck you're here. You and Dr. Watson will be with us tomorrow night.
No, I'm sorry. I'm afraid I can't. I must hurry back to London. And so should you too, Watson. We'll have to report to the police here about that convict in the morning, but there's a train leaving early in the afternoon.
Oh, what a pity. Beryl will be dreadfully disappointed.
Now, we'll remedy that when you come up to London. You must dine with us before you sail.
Well, there's the old boy himself, Sir Hugo. Hugo, the beast of the Baskervilles.
Not a bad bit of brushwork. By Ransom, one of the minor painters.
Oh, I don't imagine it's very valuable.
I can't quite agree with you, Sir Henry. One day it might prove to be of the greatest value. Well, we must be going.
There's still one or two little points, Holmes, and I can't for the life of me reconcile with your theory about that poor demented convict.
One or two little points?
But surely you can't mean that he was in London 3 weeks ago? Sent that letter? Stole that boot?
Of course not.
And who the devil did?
The same person who was responsible for the death of that convict last night and will try again to murder Sir Henry tonight.
Tonight?
Unless my imagination has run away with itself, and I don't think that it has.
Then why are we rushing up to London, leaving Sir Henry entirely unprotected?
We're not, my dear Watson. We're just giving the impression of rushing up to London. In a minute and a half, we'll be in Oakhampton. There, we'll catch a train back to Dartmoor. If my surmise is correct, we'll nab our man in the act.
But if you know who it is, why all this roundabout rigmarole? Why don't you have him arrested?
Because I've no case. Not a shred of evidence that would hold in any court. The only way is to catch him red-handed, to catch him in such a way that there's no escape, no alibi. That means gambling with Sir Henry's life.
But you can't
Gambling to save his life. But we've got to take that chance. Otherwise, the shadow of sudden death will be forever hanging over his head, and sooner or later... Here we are, Oakhampton.
And may you both spend the rest of your years together in happy content.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now I want to thank you all for the kindness that you've shown a stranger. And when Beryl and I return, I want you to know that you'll always be welcome at Baskerville Hall.
Thank you. Thank you, Sir Henry.
It's going to be lonely for you, Mr. Stapleton, with Beryl gone.
Yes, indeed it will, Mrs. Mortimer. I shall be more dependent than ever upon you, my neighbors.
Don't count upon me, sir. In my opinion, you're a body snatcher. And until the courts have decreed otherwise, I want nothing whatsoever to do with you.
Oh, Mr. Franklin.
I say, driver, can't we go a little faster?
I'm doing the best I can, sir.
You idiot! We said go faster, not break our necks.
How far is it to Baskerville Hall?
It's 5 miles by road, sir, but if you want to cut over the moor, it's only about 3.
Here you are. Come on, Watson, quick.
Thank you, sir.
It's been a wonderful evening, Stapleton.
Well, glad you could be with us, Mortimer.
Thanks.
Take this brooch, my dear, and wear it on your wedding dress. It belonged to my great-grandmother. Something old, something new. You know.
Oh, that's so sweet of you, Mrs. Mortimer. Thank you so much.
And come back to us soon, both of you.
We will.
May I offer you a lift, my lad?
It's such a beautiful night, Mr. Franklin. I think I'll walk, thank you.
Merely a gesture of hospitality. Reject it if you like. Get up there!
You're not going to cross the moor alone, Sir Henry.
Why not? There's nothing to fear anymore.
You can't be sure.
Oh, but I have Mr. Sherlock Holmes' own word for it.
Come along, James. Good night, Sir Henry.
Good night, Mr. Mortimer.
And the best of luck to you both.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
I wish you'd let Mr. Franklin drive you home.
I wanted to stay and say good night to you. This is our last good night. From tomorrow on, there won't be any more. Ever.
Tomorrow we'll be away from this place.
I wish it were now.
So do I.
Oh, now, don't be silly. Good night, Beryl.
Good night, dear.
Well, was it a nice party?
Wonderful. Everything, and most of all you. Jack, I haven't said very much about going away, but you know how I feel.
Yes, of course. It had to be.
Well, you won't be too dreadfully lonely, will you?
Well, I shall have my work. And...
Henry and I'll be back before you even know it.
Yes, of course you will. Well, you better go to bed now. You've got a big day ahead of you tomorrow.
Good night, Jack.
Good night, dear.
Over there. We'll head him off.
Jack! Where are you?
Coming to.
You'll be all right, old man.
What's... Yes, soldier.
Mr. Holmes? Yes. What was it?
We've got to get him home quickly.
Can you manage him alone?
Yes.
Because I've got things to do.
Help get his arm around my shoulder.
I'm all right.
Very painful, I know. But it won't take much longer.
Go on.
Now, Mrs. Barrowman, some gauze, please.
Just heard the dreadful news. Thank heavens you're safe. You all right? Well, now we know for certain that this is no legend, no myth. There really is a hound.
Was a hound?
Yes, Mr. Holmes told me. I ran into him across the moor. He asked me to send you to him at once. It's a matter of great importance. He said he'd wait for you at the spot where the beast was killed.
I must finish here first. This poor boy's taken a terrific beating.
Well, I could carry on for you, Doctor. I'm a bit of a doctor myself, you know.
Do you think you could manage?
Yes, I'm sure I could. I think you really ought to go, Dr. Watson. Mr. Holmes was most urgent.
Oh, really?
I shall need some hot water, Mr. Barrowman. Oh, I want it boiling, please. It must have been a terrifying experience, Sir Henry. Terrifying.
It was indeed.
Yes, I can see you're still weak from loss of blood.
I can't say I feel any too well.
Here, drink this, Sir Henry. You'll feel much stronger. I'll see to your other bandages after. Oh, it may taste a little bitter, but don't mind that.
Sir Henry. Well, feeling better?
Yes, thanks.
I say that's uncomfortably close to your eye, isn't it? All along this side? Huh? Well. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. That was clumsy of me.
It was only a bit of a tonic. Sir Henry's lost considerable blood.
Yes?
Henry! Henry!
I'm all right, darling.
Oh, no, you're not.
We heard those dreadful noises on the way home.
It's a mercy he's alive.
I owe you an apology, Sir Henry, for jeopardizing your life.
Jeopardizing? But you saved my life.
But there was no possible way for me to foretell the fun. And I must apologize, too, for deceiving you last night. When I told you that your troubles were over, I knew that they weren't. But if I hadn't cleared out, the crisis which came tonight would have been indefinitely postponed, with the shadow of death hanging over you. And over you, too, Miss Stapleton.
You knew this was going to happen?
How could you know?
The person who wanted to snuff out your life, Sir Henry, was the same one who plotted to kill your uncle. He wanted to get you both out of the way, so that he could lay claim to this place, to the whole Baskerville estate. In tracing back his lineage, he discovered not only that he was the next of kin, but also learned of that old legend about the hound. So he brought the hound to life, by the simple expedient of buying the most savage dog that he could find and hiding it here on the moor until he needed it. If he had succeeded tonight, the blame would have fallen on the legendary monster, and no possible suspicion would have been attached to him. A most ingenious device. And I'm quite sure that he would have had no difficulty in proving his claim to Baskerville Hall and all that goes with it. A most amazing instance of a throwback that I've ever seen.
For presentation upon arrival.
And you can see for yourself.
Stapleton!
One move and I'll shoot.
Jack!
You two, stay where you are. You're under arrest, Stapleton, for the murder of Sir Charles Baskerville, the murder of a convict, and the attempted murder of Sir Henry.
You can't arrest me, Holmes. Now, one move from any of you and I'll blast you all to kingdom come.
So sorry, old boy. What's the matter, old man?
What's the matter? That's our man.
Stapleton, the murderer?
He won't get very far. I've posted constables on both the roads, and the only other way is across the Grimpen Mire. I'm so sorry, Miss Stapleton. I wish I could have spared you this. Well, that officially closes the case, Sir Henry. And a very interesting case for your annals, Watson. An ordinary dog, an ingenious criminal.
And a more ingenious detective. I owe you a tremendous debt of gratitude.
Oh, we all do, Sir Henry. Mr. Holmes, we've admired you in the past, as does every Englishman. Your record as our greatest detective is known throughout the world. But this, seeing how you work, knowing that there is in England such a man as you, gives us all a sense of safety and security. God bless you, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you, Dr. Mortimer. Thank you. Now, if you don't mind, I've had rather a strenuous day. I think I'll turn in.
Of course.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Mr. Holmes.
Good night. Oh, Watson, the needle.
Alright, welcome back to the flight deck. Movie's over. We're descending down and coming into Juneau. Weather is variable. Weather's back and forth. Winds are now out of the east again. Looks like we got some low cloud. Rain kind of on and off. There's standing water here and there, so it's going to be interesting. Juneau area traffic, Skyways 3106 passing through flight level 268, heading into Juneau for the RNAV Victor runway 08 through the Sierra Romeo transition. Alright, so basically we're going to come down here, cross over this island here, up and then over, and Juneau's just in here. So we're getting close. You can see it on our display here. And everything is looking good. Some nice views down on the mountains. Again, we're running the Orbex Alaska mesh, so it should look pretty nice when we get down there. Not sure if it comes this far south, but we'll see. It's 25,000 feet. So let's go through our descent checklist. Destination weather we have. I put it in chat a little while ago. Arrival data is set. We're going to be doing a flaps 40 landing at a VREF of 129, so a VAP of 134. Landing altitude is set. It's 25 feet. We can only go up 50, so we'll leave it at 0. Radios are set on 122.8. Localizer is set. This is the SSR VOR, the one we're heading to at the moment, on 114.0. On the ADF on 121, I have tuned in the VOR that is located just before the runway. It's the Kwajalein Island VOR on 121. You see it, CGL there, and the arrow pointing towards it. So it's just as a reference point. Engine anti is not going to be required. Recall is good. MCP will set up, although we are going in on a RNAV. We can set our heading to 070, which is our final course before we take over and do the manual landing. So it is now set 070. We're doing 270 and holding there. A little bit of speed breakout to make sure we don't speed up. And we're descending to a final altitude of 1,000 feet. The altimeter we can set, it is 3001, so the pressure's going up slightly. So 3001 is now set into standby. Minimums are set 1880 for the minimums. It is an RNAV, so it's going to be higher than it would be with an ILS approach. RNAVs are considered non-precision. Approach, Mr. Approach, we're going to fly up to Ogme, make the right turn, fly heading roughly 070 as we come in. Once we have visual on the airport, we'll take over and do the manual landing. On this approach, we're going to make a left turn to the Muggs waypoint and then head up to Chill, where we'll hold, and then if we have to come back, we head to Gummel and then through Muggs back to Ogemi, and we try it again. Auto brakes, we're going to go auto brakes 2. descending down. We're at 19.8 now. And we're looking good. Okay, this is interesting. Lost my yoke for a second there. Just nothing was happening when I was clicking on the buttons. We're going to switch over to the local pressure now. 3001 and is set and cross-checked. We'll do the seat belts on in the back. Make sure they are ready for landing as we're coming in. I'm sure the cabin crew has been getting everything ready to go. And I think we're going to probably go all the way down to Gulf for our exit off the runway. It is 8,000
Ladies and gentlemen, the flight crew has
800
turned on the
feet.
fasten seatbelt sign. Please return to your
But we
seats
do
and
have
fasten
some terrain to
seatbelt.
clear as we come in. You see the cloud we've got to deal with as we come in. That was raining down here, so it's not looking too bad at the moment, but it could come back on us as well. We could hit it as we come in through the clouds. It is -6 out, so we may put the anti-ice on. Ground temperature says it is 10 degrees. Still probably going to be below as we come in. We'll watch for icing messages. So we're going to have to go down to 250 knots for 10,000. We are going to slow down for this pattern. And if we do have to misapproach, we're going to go to 9,000 feet, so we'll bear that in mind. As we come up to SSR, we'll go into approach mode, and that should take us in on final course for the RNAV. And 046. We can set this up 046. We're not on it, so it shouldn't make a difference. Mode is drawing a course off of the VOR. Actually, because I've probably got it set. Yeah, I got it set to that one. The course we're going to be taking off of it. Number 1 I've got set to the ADF. It's fine, you can see that over there. I'll give him the ADF as well. It's 12,000 feet coming up, so we'll slow down to 260. Engine's coming back. We're actually going to go 250 because we can do a flaps 5 at 2.5, so we'll go to 245 for 10,000. You're heading down as well? Okay, that's not too bad. So our speed coming back, 245. As soon as we pass 250, we can engage in our flaps. So do we have any traffic here at Juneau? Let's just take a quick look. No, we don't. In fact, the only other aircraft coming in is out of Anchorage, and it is a Alaska. But he is kind of far away. There's 10,000 feet coming up. We'll get the lights on. Turn off lights are on. Logo lights, wing lights are all on. Cabin pressure is checked and looking good. Seatbelt signs are on. We'll ding the back. Just let them know we're going through 10,000 feet. And there's the turbulence coming in as we're passing over the hills here. We're going 250 knots. This is flaps 1. And we're going to bring the speed back to 240. So we're not that close to the edge there. Flaps 2. Flaps full. Or flaps full. Flaps 5. Speed brakes are in. Flaps are doing some of the work here, controlling us. So we're going to be 3,400 when we get to Nimley, and we should be about 5,300, 52.80 at SSR. I'm going to bring our speed down to 200 knots as we come up to SSR. There's that cloud layer. Speed down to 200. We'll go flaps 10 when we get there, as we can do that below 210. We're going to switch over to 10 miles now. See everything over on here. And a little bit of cloud there. The terrain radar is on and painting the mountains around us. It's 215 knots. Below 210, so we're going to go flaps 10. It's 200 knots. Go. It says we're going to be at 5,300 at SSR, which we would be if we were going straight forward. There's approach mode. Final approach course and glide path are active. Juneau area traffic, Skyways 3106, overhead Sierra Sierra Romeo VOR, inbound RNAV Victor 408 at Juneau. Descending through 5,300. Alright, bring the speed back to 180 knots. Still descending. Final approach course and glide path are showing. too bad. Got some cloud. It's fairly low cloud. We should come in underneath it. It's 3,800. 1 mile out. There's a turn. We're 7 miles out from the next turn point. So if we look ahead, we're going to cross over the top end of this island here, and Juneau is on the other side of this mountain here, down on this arm of the inlet. As I mentioned when I flew in from Anchorage on Monday, the town's kind of split, with the airport up in the northwest end of the arm, and the cruise ship that I came in was in the southeast end of the town. And when I went up the mountains, you could see the airport. Kind of watched the an Alaskan flight land there. It was pretty cool. Alright. Decel point coming up. We're going to go down to 165 knots. Gear down, flaps 15. And flaps 25. Speed brakes are armed, auto brakes set to 2. Lights are on. Cabin, we'll give them a final ding. There's our turn onto our final approach course. And we're starting down. So we're going to set our final approach speed of 134. Through 160, flaps 30. And flaps full. Alright, now of course frequency set, speeds are set, speed brake is armed, approach mode is armed, glide slopes alive, flaps are set, engines mode selectors are set to continuous, landing gear is confirmed down, autopilot is confirmed, flaps full, go around altitude is 9,000 and set. And autopilot and throttles as required. Alright, let's see what we can see. Glide path is coming in. Glide path capture. Alright, we are over Beanie, and Mulray is our kind of our last ditch decision point. And the airport is right about there. Yeah, there's the airport there. So the airport is in sight. Autopilot disconnected. We're going to fly this in manually now. Line ourselves up.
Approaching minimums.
Again, we do have the runway in sight, so we're within minimums. Continue. Keep on the path. You can be a little high to get over the hill, but we don't want to be too high. We don't want to, the hill increases height to the left, so we don't want to go over that too high. We're pretty good about here. High, so we'll start bringing it down. There's the outer marker. That's actually the NDB we're crossing over. Alright, see it a little bit better there. Except they had snow here from the last time we were here. It's awful gray.
1,000.
1,000 to go. I think they actually fly a little bit more to the right as they come over here, where it's a little bit lower, but that's okay.
400. Terrain.
Yeah, I know. Throttle is disconnected. Juneau area traffic, Skyway 3106, short final, runway 08.
200.
So that wind really came around there.
Sink rate. 10.
And welcome to Juneau. Reverser screen, auto throttles, or auto reverse, green, auto brakes on. 70 knots, 60 knots. Reversers off. Oh, looks like we're going to get off at Echo here. Ah, very nice. Auto brakes are disconnected.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Juneau. The local time is 2 p.m. and it's currently about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. You can now use your mobile devices. Please remain seated until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the seatbelt sign is turned off. Remember to use caution when opening the overhead.
Juneau area traffic, Skyway 3106, clear 08 at Echo, taxiing to the terminal. Alright, so that's our flaps and everything flaps retracted, speed brakes retracted. Let's get those lights up. We'll get our taxi light on. We are going to start the GPS when I get around the corner, or the start the APU when I get around the corner. Let's turn off the wing lights. APU start. Kill that. Auto brakes are off. Heard Kevin there. Not sure. Oh, it looks like he's on the RNAV now at SSR.
Just enter 19 go here. Whether we should lose 08 more than 6 minutes.
Yeah, 19 Tango. The winds do come around in favor 08 as you're on short final.
Fantastic, thank you very much.
Yeah, they swung from a tailwind under 1,000 feet. They swung around to be coming just off the left nose, so wasn't too bad. So let's take a look at where we're going to go to. Let's get a gate. There's 3 suitable gates. We are going to go to gate 4. I do not need to follow me. And Evergreen, you can take the marshalling job for us today. So we're going to go up to Charlie, and we'll get off at Charlie. This is Delta 1. Goes Charlie 1 and then Charlie. Yeah, a little bit of low cloud here. Not as nice as when we flew in here on Monday. It's kind of funny. Next week we depart out of here. Not sure where we're going. Back to Vancouver with Aurora. Not sure where we're going from on the world tour. What our next stop is. We'll find out. There's Charlie 1. I'm going to take Charlie. APU is now up and running. The APU bleeds on. Turn off the train radar. Always an interesting time when flying here into Juneau. It's not a straightforward approach. Let's get those lights switched over to steady. Don't want those strobes flashing. So we're actually ahead of schedule. We're about half an hour ahead of what was forecast, so that's not too bad. So I'm going to make a hard around here.
I think we're currently inbound on the Aurora 608. 2 landed runway 08, currently 11 miles out.
Kill the light there. Let's get our view out the nose. There's our gate. It's funny, they've got United signs on there. You figure they'd be showing Alaska. All the worker bees.
I think we're fully established on the Aurora Victor 08, currently 8 miles.
Yeah, we'll follow the guide. He's bringing us in. Engines to idle. And here we are. Welcome to Juneau. So, brakes are set. We're going to come down here. We're going to go into our menu and PMDG setup. FS Actions, ground services. We're going to get the chocks put in place. We're going to request our ground power. As soon as the ground power is connected, we will shut down the engines. We'll switch on the APU generators, connect the ground power, and we can now shut down the engine. So fuel control levers are off. Anti-collision light can come off. We'll leave the logo light on. It is kind of messy out.
You are currently parked at the wrong parking position.
What are you talking about? He brought me in. So come down. We're going to get the jetway to come over. I mean, I don't have a chart with actual landing positions here. Turn off the fuel pumps. Isolation valve to open. We'll leave the packs on. We shut off the engine packs. Clear that, and flight directors 1 and 2 are off. So that is us here at
You are currently parked at the wrong parking position.
Well, no, now I'm here. I'm here. There we go. So, deboard me.
Boarding requested.
There we go. We're going to start the deboard. And while we're doing that, we'll watch Kevin come in. He's on his way in now. We can see him just coming up over the hill. So that's going to do it for today's flight, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. We'll be back with some more Aurora next Friday, where we're flying back to Vancouver out of Juneau here. And we'll be carrying on from there. Join us tomorrow. We are going to do the flight out of Saint Martin up to Miami on our around the Atlantic. We'll be departing at 1400 Zulu, or stream starting at 1400 Zulu anyway. And you're more than welcome to join us or come along. It's up to you. So that's going to do it for today. We'll see you all on the next one. Kevin, thank you very much for flying along. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.